The paved surfaces where we walk, bike, drive, and park our cars allow us to move ourselves and our goods and services around efficiently, but they wreak havoc when it comes to stormwater. Our paved areas occupy more than twice the space of all our buildings, and when the rain hits the pavement, it washes quickly off the landscape and back into our local waterways. But it's not just the high volume flow of water rushing into our streams, lakes, and bays with every rainstorm. A big concern is what's in that runoff. Pollution from our cars, landscapes, pets, and agriculture. It adds up to a big load of heavy metals, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, pesticides, nutrients, bacteria, and petroleum products entering our local waterways every time it rains. Permeable pavements are one of the best ways to treat this polluted stormwater runoff. They not only soak up the flow of water, but through various biological and natural chemical processes, the pavement and the rocks and soils beneath the pavement actually filter out or treat the pollutants to protect local waterways and groundwater. For pervious pavements to work their best, owners of these pavements should follow the regular maintenance guidelines recommended by each manufacturer and installer. This short video provides some of the basic tips, but more technical guidance can be found in a variety of technical resources, such as the Low Impact Development Technical Guidance Manual for Puget Sound, the Eastern Washington Low Impact Development Guidance Manual, and the Washington State Department of Ecology's Guidance Document for Low Impact Development Operations and Maintenance. No matter what type of pavement you have, porous asphalt, pervious concrete, permeable pavers, or open-celled grids containing gravel aggregate, the first step is a clean installation that prevents construction sediment from infiltrating the project. As with anything, the easiest maintenance is preventative maintenance. It's best to follow the annual maintenance recommendations of the pavement manufacturer, supplier, and installer. For large expanses of permeable pavements, such as in commercial parking lots, office parks, streets, and publicly maintained sidewalks, specialized cleaning equipment such as a regenerative air or vacuum sweeper should be used to remove debris as often as is recommended, usually once or twice per year. For smaller areas, such as where homeowners and business owners maintain their own sections of sidewalks, driveways, and small parking areas, standard equipment such as stiff bristled push brooms, shop vacuums, and handheld pressure washers can be used to keep the pavements clean. Recommendations vary, but this cleaning should usually be done once or twice a year. Areas that receive a lot of leaf litter or sediment flowing on from adjacent conventional impervious pavements should be cleaned more frequently. It's important to keep weeds and adjacent vegetation from taking root in pervious pavements. Weeds can serve as sediment traps, which could lead to clogging, plus the weeds are unsightly. Again, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Inspect permeable pavements regularly so you can quickly pull weeds while they're small and before they can form a hard-to-remove root or go to seed. For larger weeds, you may have to use a weeding tool to remove them from the pavement. If weeds get out of hand, or if they are the kind that are hard to pull by hand, an inexpensive flame weeder can quickly kill off these weeds by causing their cells to burst. You won't see the effects immediately, but the plants will die later and can be swept or vacuumed away. For long-time weeds with long tap roots, several applications may be necessary before the weed is finally killed. Never use chemical pesticides on permeable pavements. If permeable pavements aren't maintained every year, moss can build up in free-draining pavements and cause clogging. It's also slippery, so it's a potential safety hazard. To prevent moss buildup in pervious concrete or porous asphalt, use a stiff bristled broom, especially in summer. This will usually dislodge the moss successfully. With permeable interlocking concrete pavers or open-celled aggregate grid systems, annual or biannual vacuuming should be enough to prevent this buildup. For more difficult cases of moss or other clogging, it may be necessary to rejuvenate the pavement. With pervious concrete or asphalt, this might involve careful power washing that's been calibrated not to dislodge the aggregate in the top course of pavement. Power washing is best done in combination with vacuuming to prevent the loosened debris from penetrating the pavement and causing clogging. Here, we see permeable concrete interlocking pavers that have been unmaintained for several years. This area is also subject to regular sediment deposition from adjacent conventional pavements. These pavers are no longer absorbing stormwater at the high rates they were designed for. To restore these pavers, we simply scraped up the cap of moss and silt on top and then vacuumed. It was surprisingly quick to restore these pavers. As a reminder, easy annual vacuuming would prevent the need for restorative cleaning like this. Whenever pavers or grid systems that rely on clean aggregate are cleaned or heavily weeded, you'll need to replace that aggregate with the proper grade of stone. Rely on the recommendations from the manufacturer or installer to be sure you have the correct size, and be sure it is clean or washed. As part of regular inspection of these systems, you'll notice when the level of aggregate has fallen to below a ½ inch of the surface. If that happens, a little of the proper grade of aggregate will need to be swept back in. This ensures proper function, but also prevents tripping hazards, especially if the area receives regular foot traffic by people wearing spike-heeled shoes. As part of regular inspection of pervious pavements, litter and large organic debris should be picked up to prevent clogging and to maintain its attractive appearance. An important advantage of pervious pavements is that because the water flows through instead of settling on top, they aren't subject to the typical freeze-thaw cycles. Properly specified and installed pervious pavements usually have no or very few cracks or potholes that result from regular pooling of surface water and the freeze-thaw. However, repairs and utility work may require disturbing the pavements. Pavers and open-celled aggregate grid systems are easily repaired in sections following the recommendations of the manufacturer and installer. For pervious concrete or porous asphalt, typically 5 to 10% of the pavement can be replaced using conventional pavements without impacting performance. Maintaining free-draining pavements is easy and is an important part of keeping pollution out of our community's waterways. Help spread the word about how to maintain these important pavements by sharing this video and the more detailed recommendations in the resources below. Thank you for doing your part to protect our local waterways.